The crypto trading sentiment around retail is getting extremely positive, but the Bitcoin wells just set up a massive $98 million sell wall right above us. Together with that, the accumulated funding rates are getting extremely positive. What does it mean for Bitcoin? I will reveal to you the next moves in this video.
My crypto paradise.
Hello ladies and gentlemen of the Paradise Club, this is Simon from My Crypto Paradise, and today we will be discussing something extremely important that is happening on the price action of Bitcoin. As you know, we have been analyzing this leading diagonal in the previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, and we have been able to understand that with the highest probability, the fourth wave will finish right here. We will be analyzing what's with the highest probability gonna happen next, but first let's have a look what's going on behind the scenes with the crypto trading sentiment. So unlike the minority, unlike the smart money, the noob money, they are extremely bullish, and we know that because we are analyzing with our artificial intelligence the crypto trading sentiment on Bitcoin Talk, Reddit, Twitter. We are monitoring the keywords, we are monitoring the activity on bullish and bearish posts, etc. And as you can see, we are getting into extremes. You can monitor this with me on our website. It's for free on mycryptoparadise.com, and right now we are overreaching the extremes, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see on the at these levels that is basically around 0.8 to 0.9, we have been topping previously right here, and we have had all the major crashes from these levels when the crypto trading sentiment reached these high levels. All right, so careful about this. As you know, previously Reddit, it was leading this kind of bullishness, and then Bitcoin Talk joined and Twitter is going into extremes slowly but surely as well. But as you can see, the Bitcoin Talk and Reddit right now, they are at the extremes. Twitter is getting there, but Reddit is also always leading it, ladies and gentlemen. So this is something what we are always on the lookout, because when Reddit gets bullish, the other social media usually follows. All right, so careful about this. As you know, majority of the people in the long run lose all of their money. As you know, I have been sharing with you that within 3 years, 96% of traders, they lose absolutely everything. Okay, so you need to make sure, if you want to be long-term profitable, that you are following the smart money, and the smart money are being held by the minority. That is why it's so important that you are following and understanding how the whales are working, and then monitoring their moves, and you are just riding the waves with them, right? So this is very important to understand crypto trading sentiment, ladies and gentlemen. Retail extremely bullish right now, and this is going to be very important to understand once we are analyzing the price action. Okay, together with that, as you can see above us, there are the massive sell walls, ladies and gentlemen. Together it's even more than that $90 million that I have said in the intro, because I have not calculated this one. This itself is worth around $50 million. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody is really defending this $110,000, and somebody really doesn't want Bitcoin to go above these levels. As you can see, a little fill-in already happened during the weekend. As you can see on this Fakeout, there was some sell limit orders filled, and still they have been also pushing. I've been watching that on the volume bubbles, and with the Paradise team we have been monitoring what's going on the blockchain. Somebody is already, like from the big boys, been distributing on the market sell orders. All right, and we will be talking about the absorption that is going on from the liquidity perspective, because retail is bullish, right? And they have tried to push the price to the upside, but somebody was absorbing the buying pressure, and we will be talking about that in a moment once we will be analyzing the oscillators, right? It's very nicely visible there. Together with that, what's very important is to understand that the VPVR right here, as you can see, during this consolidation, the biggest action happened at around $107,000. So any retest, all right, will really, the $107,000 will act as a resistance. So any bearish retest that we will go to the upside, $107,000 as a resistance. It's also value high right here. be very careful and be very focused on that level, okay? Together with that, funding rates, and this is already the first sign that the retail is really bullish, because we can see on our website as well, the accumulated funding rates right now is extremely positive. What does it mean? It means that there is more leverage long positions than short positions, okay? And as you can see, as you know from the previous videos, I've told you we are watching what's going on mostly on altcoins, because altcoins are being traded by retail mostly, right? And it's because of many reasons. They just want to hold some altcoin and get rich quick, because they believe from the social media influencers that it will pump to the moon very soon, right? So they go multiple X leverage with most of the times all in of their capital, or like some extreme position exposure like 10% per one position, etc., right, with high leverage. So this is very nicely visible. So previously the Bitcoin and Ethereum funding was kind of negative, as it is right now. It's kind of neutral for Ethereum, but it's quite negative on Bitcoin, on Bybit, right? But on the other exchanges, in average, we have seen, and I've been explaining to you, that the positive funding is a bad sign. And as you can see right now, it transferred into Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. And as you can see, in average on most of the exchanges, we are in a high positive numbers. That is meaning that the accumulated funding rates are showcasing the current crypto trading sentiment, and that is bullish. People being brainwashed by the crypto trading influencers on the social media like Twitter, that we are going to the moon and we are about to make a new all-time high very soon, right? And of course, these kind of bullish posts, they're extremely attractive, and everybody wants Bitcoin to go to the upside infinitely, right? But it's not just what's happening. We are moving in cycles. So extremely positive funding rates. What does it mean? It means that the retail is providing liquidity that the minority, the whales, can use for selling to exit their positions, right? So this will also potentially can really expedite long squeeze, because once we start getting liquidation levels of these long positions, it will automatically open a short position, and the ride lower, the bearish ride, will be much smoother. All right, so let's right now go and analyze the ultra high time frame chart. As you know, with the highest probability, we are in the first wave of our impulse that will take us towards $44,000. Ladies and gentlemen, this first wave is not confirmed yet, right? This first wave can also happen from $121,000 or $135,000, as you know from our free Telegram channels, where with the Paradise team we have been updating you about the price action a few weeks ago. So right now we just need to be careful. Let's take a look how the weekly candle closed. The current candle after the indecision candle that we had in the previous weeks closed kinda bullish, right? But if we take a look at the volume, is below average. This is our moving average volume trend line. As you can see, it didn't reach at all the previous volume metrics. So this kind of bullish candles cannot be trusted, all right? Together with that, on the ultra high time frame perspective, as you can see, we are creating higher high, but the histogram is creating lower high. This is a classic bearish divergence, as you know from our website mycryptoparadise.com. When the price action is making higher high, but the indicator is making lower high, that basically means the bullish momentum is decreasing, and usually you are seeing this at some reversal points, because for the bears right now it's very easy to take it over, right? From the Elliott wave perspective, you understand that if we will be able to calculate correctly the subwaves of the first higher degree, ultra high time frame degree first wave, we will be in a new impulse that will take us towards $44,000, right? So as you know, in the descending impulse wave, the first, third and fifth waves are motive mode waves, and all of them subdivides into smaller 5 waves, right? And the first wave can be either an impulse itself, that means this one wave can have 5 smaller waves and create an impulse, or it can be also a leading diagonal, okay? And we will get to that price action of a potential leading diagonal in a minute. But first of all, let's understand that if we will not be able to calculate correctly that we are forming a 5 moves to the downside, this is not going to be a first wave of the impulse, and we might go a little bit higher, right? First, before we start retracing and having a new bearish trend. That is important before we can hit that $240,000 mark. As you know from the previous videos, I am targeting $240,000 within the next year. I do believe that we can hit it until 2026, because after 2026 we will have a bear market. As you know, we have been like this, able to catch also the bottom at $19,500, and the same way we will be extremely heavily bullish once we reach this important demand zone, $44,000, and at the same time everybody else will be extremely bearish, right? And again, it's just repeating the cycles. When majority are bearish, it's providing selling liquidity for the minority to keep accumulating, right? Because the minority always have a vision into the future. The majority, the herds, basically they're acting based on emotions, and that's usually not profitable. So only take the highest probability trades and always make sure that you are analyzing the market properly, so then you can make the highest probability trading decisions. So how can we say that the first wave is really informing? Well, as you know, the first wave also subdivides itself into 5 small waves on the high time frame, right? On the higher time frame. So if we are able to analyze if we are forming an impulse or a leading diagonal, we will be successfully able to say that yes, we are forming a new impulsive wave. So let's right now jump into daily time frame. Here what's very important to understand, we are creating a little bullish trend to the upside, right? But let's have a look what happened, and something similar already happened in the past. I will describe it to you very soon. So let's have a look what happened right here on the bullish price action to the upside. The volume is declining, okay? That's a first bearish sign. So we are pushing to the upside. The price action is going higher, right? We are right now reaching a resistance, but the whole time as we are going to the upside, the volume is declining. Together with that, we are creating a bearish divergence, and the momentum on MACD histogram is having upticks. So the momentum is going to the upside, but the volume is going to the downside, and the price action is going to the upside. So what does it mean? Who is pushing the market? Smart money or dump money? Who is pushing the market? Well, take a look. If there would be some real buying volume on spot exchange, if there would be some big guys going in right now, it would be visible on the volume, right? But it is not. So a huge divergence on volume versus price action. But take a look who is making also a higher high together with the price action, right? With this lower price action on this scale, the momentum is going higher, unlike the volume. So that means that somebody is creating the bullish pressure. But who is creating the bullish pressure? Well, the majority, right? On the momentum, you can see very aggressive market buying. It is usually very nicely visible right here that we are creating this buying pressure by extreme leverage because the volume is not supporting it. And as you can see on the funding rates, we can confirm that, right? Extremely positive funding rates, accumulated funding rates. So the momentum is creating higher highs on this scale, the price action as well, but the volume is declining. So who is pushing the price? A majority of people pushing the price in this kind of hope that we are gonna break and create a new all-time high, but the volume is not supporting the price action. Together with that, if we zoom out a little bit and we take this chunk of price action in consideration, as you can see, we are creating lower high, but the indicator is creating, the momentum is creating higher high, right? What does it mean? Again, that somebody is absorbing the buying liquidity, right? So somebody is providing the whales with buying liquidity, and as you can see, because we are creating this bearish divergence, we are basically can assume that somebody is absorbing this buying liquidity and selling into that, okay? So this is actually hidden bearish divergence. This is the opposite of what we are seeing on the ultra high time frame. So on the daily time frame, we are creating a lower high, but the price action is having a higher high, okay? And this is a great understanding and explanation of what's going on when there is some absorption of the buying liquidity, because the momentum is high, but the price action cannot create a higher high because somebody is absorbing the buying liquidity, okay? So a big warning sign, and something similar happened right here in May. Have a look at that. As you can see, we have created a bullish price action, but we have created on the MACD histogram a bearish divergence because the momentum is creating lower high, but the price action is creating higher high. So as you can see, as the price went to the upside, right, the momentum was decreasing. That was the opposite, but it's the same thing, just the whales are operating differently. Right here, the momentum was decreasing, right? And then as you can see on this bearish candle, they have basically been taken over because the momentum of the bulls was getting weaker and weaker. Together with that, as we have been going to the upside, as you can see on the last price actions, the volume was going to the downside with the price action, right? So price action to the upside, volume to the downside, uptick in momentum, as you can see right here and right here. So the moment the volume is going down, right, this one, this candle, and then we have a higher high, the volume is going lower, all right, and the momentum instead is going higher. This is the same thing what we are having on the lower scale, right? So if you are able to really understand these kind of small nuances on the price action, you can make a better trading decisions. So from the price action perspective, right now this is bearish, and as a confirmation we will have a daily closure below this moving average trend line. As you can see, we are already getting rejected from this resistance that I've been updating for you in the previous videos, and right now we are also going below the 0.65 Fibonacci retracement level. Confirmation will be a closure of this daily candle that is closing in 8 hours 56 minutes. If there will be also a successful reclaim that we will retest this will be with our Paradise Family VIPs. We will be definitely getting a beautiful short positions in swing short positions. On scalping we are getting positions all the time, but on swing trading we are very careful, and we are just trading the best risk reward opportunities, right, and the highest probability trades. Scalping as well, but there is more probabilities and potential trading ideas possible when we are having a range trading. Right now, as you can see in the previous multiple days, there is no opportunity going on because we are just consolidating, right? But at the moment, once we get a nice confirmation, a beautiful short position will be cooking, because we will be able to place our stop loss right above the multiple point of controls, right? So it really depends on your risk appetite. If you put it right here, or above this high, or if you are being very conservative, you can place it above the 1.272. It also depends on the volatility, but you understand that we are targeting the key high time frame support zone, and below us there is basically no supports, right? So a beautiful risk to reward opportunity like this, if the probabilities and confirmations will start to be intact. So this is what I'm targeting, ladies and gentlemen, but confirmations are needed, right? If we will start reclaiming these resistance levels and we will start pushing that into and transforming that into a support, I will definitely be looking for long positions with Paradise Family VIPs. Let's right now have a look at the leading diagonal. As you can see, a beautiful price action. As you know from the previous videos, I've been telling you right here, be careful, because this is our resistance trend line of our leading diagonal. As you know from the previous videos, I've been telling you that the fourth wave will stop right here. We have been able to predict that by copying the slope of this wave, and then we have been pushing that slope of the trending line at the top of the secondary wave, and that revealed to us where the fourth wave is gonna stop, right? So as you know, the leading diagonal subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves. That is basically the possible that I've been talking about, the possible first wave of our higher degree impulse, right? So this one can be an impulse itself or a leading diagonal. So let's have a look. It also, the first wave needs to subdivide itself into 5 smaller waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most people have been watching some YouTubers yesterday, and I've been just checking like what is the bias right now, yeah? And somebody was showing that this is some corrective mode wave pattern, etc. And I've been just laughing, because if you want to be able to predict and trade with the Elliott wave theory properly, you need to be able to calculate the subwaves, right? So this is a first wave of a leading diagonal. Why? Because we have been able to understand the subwaves of this first wave. For God's sake, somebody just doesn't even know how to properly trade Elliott wave theory, and they are just saying that this is some corrective mode wave, doesn't even tell why, and they say that because of that we are going to the moon, right? So this is absolutely bonkers, because you shouldn't listen to these people. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been analyzing that in the previous video already. This is a motive mode wave, reactionary secondary wave, a third wave motive mode wave, and then we have the fourth wave in the previous video. I will not repeat myself. This was basically an ABC zigzag with a C extended wave, right? And right now it seems like we are getting below the descending trend line, and we will most likely we will have the reclaim, right? So as you can see right here, during the weekend there was this deviation above the descending trend line. It caught loads of people, but if you are clever and you are watching these videos, smash the like button. You know that what's needed for a successful breakout is not only the break with high volume, which we didn't got, right? As you can see, all this volume that we had during this break to the upside came with below average volume. All right, so you have this moving average volume trend line. As you can see, it was small volume, so this was a clear fake out to catch unexperienced traders. And even though if this would come with a high volume, all right, there still needs to be the reclaim and then some lower time frame confirmation. As you can see, we didn't get it. Lots of people got caught right here. Lots of bulls crying right now that have been over leveraged because we have not been able to have a clear reclaim. And right now we are going to the upside and we are maybe gonna reclaim the moving average trend line that previously was holding us as a support, as you can see right here. And right now it might be retested and work as a resistance. So ladies and gentlemen, for our confirmation with the Paradise family VIPs to get into short positions on swing trading perspective, and you know that we are strategically positioning ourselves and we are working with portfolio exposure, so we may or may not be already in some short position. It really is something I cannot talk about, but the highest probability trades will come once we have a proper multiple confirmations, right? So we want to see a clear first wave, and you already know how the first wave needs to be created. It needs to have 5 smaller waves, and it's either impulse or a leading diagonal, right? So after a confirmation, we also want to have a second confirmation, a secondary wave that needs to be in some corrective mode wave, and this will be a nice short entry where we will be also retesting the descending trend line, resistance, etc. Just a beautiful trading opportunity. And if everything goes based on our plan, we will be finishing the descending leading diagonal right here at around $93,000. You already know how we have calculated this level. As you know, from the Fibonacci retracement perspective, we have loads of confluences right here. If I take this section as well, 1.618, we have 1.272. From the history price action, as you can see, it perfectly worked as a demand zone. So I do believe that the $93,000 will be very important. Ladies and gentlemen, also on the RSI indicator, as you can see, we have created a bearish divergence. The price action created a higher high, but the RSI indicator created a lower high. As you can see, it's working right now, but what I want to see is a clear breakout and a reclaim. Okay, so I will be positioning ourselves on that secondary wave, and again it will create a beautiful short trading opportunities because you can place the stop loss very tightly, and the targets, as you know, the main target is very far away from our potential entry price. So definitely wait for confirmations. Only trade with a proper trading strategy, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't have a proper trading strategy that is being profitable for multiple years and you always have an edge, like in the market, every time you enter a trade, you basically not be profitable and you will be no better than a gambler that is randomly executing some bets. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he lose, but in the long term, because he doesn't have an edge against the casino owners, he will always lose. And I don't want that to be you, okay? So only trade when you have a proper backtested trading strategy, only enter positions based on proper trading tactics, okay? Work well with risk management and money management, and then you might have a chance against the professional traders. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I do hope these videos are helping you. Smash the like button if that's true, and I will see you again on Thursday. As you know, I'm recording for you videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Cheers.